WLOX News at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. Tropical Depression 10 is coming. Here's what we know at this hour. This system will bring a lot of rain and some pretty strong winds. Right now, all the Mississippi coast is under a tropical storm warning. Harrison and Jackson counties have both declared a local state of emergency. Also, if you live in Jackson County, there is a mandatory evacuation order for people in FEMA trailers, as well as residents of low-lying areas in both Jackson County and Harrison County. Also, there are emergency shelters open in all three coastal counties. We begin our extensive coverage by checking with Mike to find out where the storm is right now. Mike?
Well, Jeff, I'll tell you this. The storm is not located where the Hurricane Center first said it was located, and the reason that is because it's, of course, moving, and we now have it on land-based radar. Now, what I have done is I've put a tighter-in shot here, and it looks like this system is actually starting to move on shore somewhere around Fort Walton Beach, maybe a little bit to the west of that. But the bottom line is you can see it right there. So that's the interesting thing is because the projection is for it to move more west-northwest. Well, it actually may be moving northwest. That's good news. Here's some bad news. Folks inland may actually have more problems with this initially than folks along the coast, and that's because all of these feeder bands moving up into this very dry, hot air could trigger some severe weather. We're talking about tornadoes, and that is one of the problems with these weak tropical systems as they move onshore. Sometimes they produce more tornadoes than anything else. Now, Mississippi Power Doppler radar is showing us we don't have anything in our area except quite a bit of cloud cover, but as we shift over toward the Pensacola area, now if that center is located where we expect it, we still see most of the heavy weather to the west or to the east of it, to the backside of it, as a matter of fact. And that's another thing we'll have to be aware of is as this system passes to the west of us tomorrow, we probably will see our worst weather on the backside of it. So we are still under a tropical storm warning. This last coordinates we had 29.9 north, 86.4 west with winds of 35 miles per hour. We'll get an update at 7 o'clock with new coordinates. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look at the tropical storm warning and an inland tropical storm warning. That's for you folks up in George and Greene County. Your winds up there are going to be right around 30 to 35 miles an hour. Here along the coast, tides running 2 to 3 feet above normal. Rainfall 2 to 4 inches with 6 inches max, and that 2 to 4 inches looks pretty good. And we have to be on the lookout again for those increasing thunderstorms. When I come back, we'll talk about what you should be doing to prepare for this storm that's headed our way.
Thanks, Mike. And with the way the storm is tracking right now, Jackson County leaders are taking every precaution. This afternoon, the Board of Supervisors ordered a mandatory evacuation, again, for all people in trailers, low-lying areas, and beachfront homes in Jackson County. And they want folks to head to higher ground as soon as possible. The shelters open are shelters of last resort, so people who need to leave can go to family or friends in safer areas. Jackson County Board President Tim Broussard says civil defense workers and first responders will be working around the clock as the weather system comes in.
We need to do the best that we can to give an indication that we take things like this seriously. We want people to be safe. We want people to be protected.
And again, if you live in a FEMA trailer, you should make preparations to leave. Keep in mind the shelters that are open are only there, as we said, as a last resort. Coast shelters did, however, open 1 hour ago. Let's look at Harrison County first of all. There are 8 in Harrison County. Here's the list. They are Lizana Elementary, North Bay Elementary, Central Elementary, Harrison Central High and Elementary, DeIverville High School, Socia Elementary, and the Good Deeds Community Center. The shelters in Jackson County are at the Latimer Community Center, Jackson County Fairgrounds, and the St. Martin Community Center. The East Central Community Center is also open as a special needs shelter. Van Cleve Votech Center is a pet shelter. There's only one shelter in Hancock County. That's the Hancock North Central Elementary School. It again is a shelter of last resort. If you do have to go to a shelter, remember to bring your own food, your own water, and your own bedding. For the 16,000 plus people across Mississippi still in FEMA trailers, any kind of a storm threat is reason to put their plans into action quickly. Crystal Island is at one of the FEMA parks in Gulfport tonight. Crystal, are people paying a lot of attention to these warnings tonight?
Well, Jeff, I'd have to say yes. Actually, I had the opportunity to talk with a couple out here who said they went through Katrina and actually had to swim out of their apartment. They have a 1-year-old child, so they're just not willing to take any chances. And with the possibility of that impending tropical storm and winds in excess of 30 to 40 miles per hour, they say they just don't want to ride out the storm in a FEMA trailer. On the other hand, I met a gentleman who said, well, I rode out Katrina, everything was okay, so this is just a tropical storm. I think I can make it through. So, and again, there were other people who said they just simply didn't know what they were going to do at this point, and hopefully they'll be able to decide sometime soon. Now, earlier today, FEMA officials were handing out notices to people in FEMA trailer parks, just reiterating the fact that people really need to think about what they need to do to be as safe as possible and get to a safe place with the possibility of this tropical storm coming through. Also, if people weren't home, FEMA officials were actually putting those notices up on people's doors. Now, earlier in our newscast, as you saw, we listed those mandatory evacuation orders. If you're under that mandatory evacuation order, probably want to be finding a family or a friend to stay with at this point. And if you need emergency shelter, we'll have a list of those shelters again on WLOX News at 10 and also on our website. That's at WLOX.com. And Jeff, right here, actually, we're starting to feel a few sprinkles, so maybe starting to feel a little bit of that rain. And as for the folks here, they say that, well, they're not going to take any chances. They want to make sure they're as safe as possible. So, yes, there's nothing wrong with that. Back to you.
Thanks, Crystal. One quick addition to the shelter list. We have just received word that in Stone County High School's shelter opened. Again, that's at the high school. It opened just a few minutes ago, Stone County High. Emergency managers have had several meetings throughout this day. Tony Miles continues our team coverage with a status report from Harrison County tonight.
A couple and their dog frolicked under the blue skies Friday afternoon as emergency management officials met to discuss their plans for handling the tropical depression heading our way.
We do not want people to take this storm lightly. Right now we're under coastal flood watch. That will probably change.
Shelters opened at 5 p.m. If you go to a shelter, you need to bring your own supplies and food.
But a shelter will not have normally hot meals. If meals are provided, it's going to be MREs, but the first 12 hours in a shelter, you need to make sure you have everything you need, food, water, your sleeping bag.
We've checked in with the State Gaming Commission about what this storm system may mean to the casinos. As of now, there are no orders being considered that would impact casino operations, although they have been advised to remove any debris or construction materials that may be nearby. The airport is also open. About 80% of the flights are booked this weekend. Drawbridges, including the one here at Cowan Road, will be closed to marine traffic when and if there are 35-mile-per-hour sustained winds.
So that we can still have road traffic, but we do not want a bridge to be up and get caught in the up position with a storm coming.
In Harrison County, Tony Miles, WLOX News.
Thanks, Tony. And Hancock County's emergency management team has been monitoring the progress of this weather situation as well. As we mentioned earlier, because of the devastation left behind by Katrina, there's only one shelter open in Hancock County. So even a tropical storm is taken very seriously. Anybody living in a low-lying area should be ready for the heavy rain and high tides expected over the next 24 hours. The threatening weather has forced the cancellation of several high school football games tonight and tomorrow. We run down that list as the news at 6 continues. We'll also